Hello, this is Michelle from Seems Like Quilting, and today we are quilting the Lost Mittens pattern from Coach House Designs with the Ski Hill collection from Riley Blake. We're making this into a shop sample for a kit that we're selling for the winter. And one of the questions that we often get at the shop is how do we get, or who quilts the shop samples? So we do have a couple of long armers that we work with who are fabulous, but we do a lot of shop samples, so we can't necessarily long arm have all of them long armed. So there are some that are done that I do because I make most of the shop samples on my domestic sewing machine, and then I quilt them on my domestic as well. So some of them are free motion quilted, but this one is actually going to be straight stitch quilted, and I'm doing that specifically because I want a pattern on it that kind of looks like a puffer coat with kind of the angled crossover kind of straight line look. So I'm specifically doing it for a reason, because it is, you know, it's Ski Hill and mittens, and I thought it'd look really cute with that kind of design. But it occurred to me that not everybody quilts on their domestic, so I wanted to point out a couple of things that help a lot. First is this this foot. So this is called a walking foot, and basically the purpose behind the walking foot is that if you look here, and I'm actually going to do a couple of stitches, so watch the foot here. You see how the way that the foot goes, the teeth actually move the top of the fabric. So walking foot is fantastic if you're doing anything that has layers, whether it's a bag or a quilt, because there's actually teeth underneath here, underneath the foot right here, and what they do is they pull the fabric along just like the teeth on the feed dogs underneath. And so they pull it along at the same pace. So when you're pulling the top and the bottom at the same pace, you end up with a really smooth straight stitch. And the other thing that happens is that you don't get a lot of shifting of the layers. So if you have trouble, like when you're making bags where the top layer, the bottom layer, and like the middle, maybe the soft and stable or whatever you're using in the middle kind of shifts a little bit, really try a walking foot. Pick up a walking foot. They are a little pricey, and of course there's different feet for different machines. I have a just a straight stitch machine here, and so this walking foot is actually, it's not a name brand, it's just a generic walking foot for a medium shank machine. The other thing that you'll see here is this blue stripe, and no, this isn't like some weird kind of marking pen. This is actually painter's tape. I mark straight stitch with painter's tape. It doesn't leave any residue on the quilt. It comes right off. You can actually reuse it. But what I tend to do with the straight stitch is I tend to set my stitch line with the painter's tape, and then I'll use a seam guide. So it's not attached right now, but basically it's this piece right here. And so I will attach this right here to the machine, and then what it'll do is it'll guide the next stitch. So I can move the machine over and stitch on the next line, and then I just put the seam, along that, and I can make sure that I'm going relatively straight. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be a stick straight quilt. It's going to look hand straightened, and that's the look that I'm going for. I want it to be a little rustic. I want it to be a little informal. I don't want it to be like show perfect. And that's not because it's not, I'm going to tell myself it's because I like it that way and not because I'm not incapable of it. But in this case, it's definitely something that I think fits the vibe of the quilt a lot better. And so, you know, a lot of times people ask me, you know, extra special stuff that we use, and painter's tape, I mean, you just pick up painter's tape anywhere, and you can get any thickness that you want to help you get the look that you're going for. It's just fantastic. I actually keep the painter's tape right in my sewing room, and when it disappears, kind of like when the scissors disappear when somebody in the house tries to take it, I yell at them. Then the last thing that I want to point out is some sort of quilting glove. Now everybody has, this is like thimbles. Everybody's going to have a style that they like differently. I love these because I don't like gloves all over my hands, but we do have gloves at the shop, and what this is for is just for grip grip. So I'm not like holding down so much so I don't get that arm fatigue. It's just for gripping the fabric as it moves through. And so what you end up with is a really smooth experience, and you get a lot of quilting done before your hands and your arms get tired. So that's three tools for straight stitch quilting that you might want to check out if you ever want to quilt even a small project with straight stitch. A walking foot right here, the gloves, and of course my favorite, a cheap old roll of painter's tape. Good luck and happy quilting.